yes, I am free when my mind is clear. Oh, dear brothers, oh, dear sisters, let's walk together joyfully.
Dear brothers and sisters, the meditation hall team have asked me to make a request of you. Would all of you on this side, if there's any way that you can move to the left a bit, would you all kind of move to the left as far as you can so we eliminate any empty spaces? Because we need to make space for people along the wall to clear an exit way. And now the same on this side, move to the center.
Dear Sangha, dear friends, welcome to our retreat with the theme Finding Our True Home. Let us sit relaxedly and enjoy our breathing. There's nothing to do now. Nowhere to go and nothing to do. Just relax. Enjoy our breathing, enjoy our togetherness as a Sangha. When I breathe in, I can enjoy my in-breath. Breathing in may be something very pleasant. As I breathe in, I focus my attention on my in-breath. And I find out that I am alive. Because someone who is already dead does not breathe in anymore. So it's wonderful to feel alive. I breathe in, I know I am breathing in, I know I am alive. So it's very pleasant. And when I breathe out, I can smile to life inside of me and around me. I can celebrate the fact that I am still alive. Life is very precious, and I would like to profit from every moment, every minute given to me to live. So I want to cherish every moment of the day. I want to live each moment of my daily life deeply. I don't want to waste my life. Life is a gift. Breathing in, I know I'm alive. Breathing out, I smile to life. I enjoy being alive. And when we are breathing in and out like that, our mind has only one object. That is our in-breath and our out-breath. And we stop our thinking easily. We naturally stop our thinking. Because normally our thinking is not very productive. Right thinking can be productive, but most of our thinking are not productive. So focusing our attention on our in-breath and out-breath, we naturally stop our thinking, stop the mental discourse inside that allowed our body to be free and to relax. Stop the mental discourse inside and begin to feel. You feel that you are there, you are alive. There's so many wonders of life are available in yourself and around you. So just breathing in and out can bring us a lot of joy, happiness, and peace. We stop our thinking, our mental discourse. We also stop our worry about the future. We don't think anymore about the future. We are in the present moment. We stop our fear and our anxiety about the future. And we also stop our regret and our sorrow concerning the past. Because our mind has only one object, that is our in-breath and out-breath. So just breathing in and breathing out, we got a lot of freedom. Freedom from thinking, freedom from the past, from the future. And that freedom allows our body and our mind to renew themselves, to heal, to be nourished. It's very simple. And when we breathe together, we create a powerful collective energy of mindfulness and peace and joy. And that collective energy of mindfulness and peace and joy can nourish everyone, nourish us and nourish everyone around us. So one of the things that a retreat, the coming together of many practitioners can produce is that kind of collective energy. When you hear the bell, you naturally stop your thinking and talking. You just focus your attention on the sound of the bell and you enjoy breathing in and out. Listen, I listen. This wonderful sound brings me back to my true home, to my true source. And together we create that kind of collective energy of mindfulness and joy. And that is very healing and nourishing. That is the best we can get, we can profit from the retreat. That those of us, monastics and lay people, we are used to the practice, and every time we sit, we walk and practice mindful breathing, mindful walking, we create together that collective energy of mindfulness, of peace and of joy. And everyone in the retreat can contribute to that wholesome energy of mindfulness, of peace, by walking in such a way that every step can generate joy and happiness. By breathing in such a way that every breath can allow us to release the tension, to have more freedom, to enjoy the wonders of life that are in us and around us. We know that there is suffering in the world and also the suffering in every one of us. When we go home to ourselves by the way of mindful breathing, we can get in touch with the wonders of life, nourishing and healing. And we can profit from these wonders of life. And when we breathe and go home to ourselves, we have an opportunity to encounter, to recognize the pain, the sorrow, the fear, the anger in us. And if we train ourselves in the practice of mindfulness, we will be able to recognize the pain in us, to embrace it tenderly, and to calm it down, to suffer less. So the practice of mindfulness helps us to enjoy, to create joy and happiness, and also to take care of the pain inside of us. Many of us do not know how to handle the pain inside. We have despair, we have anger, we have loneliness. And we don't know how to handle these blocks of pain in ourselves. And most of us try to run away from ourselves, or try to cover up the pain in us by the way of consuming. We consume books, magazines, television, food, internet, not because we really need these items of consumption, but because we want to cover up the suffering inside of us. We feel that if we go home to ourselves, we might risk to be overwhelmed by the pain, the sorrow, the fear, the despair in us. That is why our natural tendency is to run away from ourselves and using consumption in order to cover up the pain in ourselves. And that is what most of people in our society do. But in this practice, we do the opposite. We generate the energy of mindfulness by breathing, by walking. And with that energy of mindfulness, we can go home to ourselves without fear. It is with that energy of mindfulness that we can recognize the pain, the sorrow, the despair in us. And we can embrace that block of pain tenderly, the way a mother holding her baby. Because the pain, the sorrow in us is our own baby, we have to take care. And then when many of us practice mindful breathing and walking, we produce that collective energy of mindfulness that is powerful. And we happen to be in a group like that. We can very well profit from the collective energy of mindfulness to embrace our anger, our fear, our despair. If we are a beginner in the practice, maybe our mindfulness is not strong enough to embrace our pain. In that case, we should allow the collective energy of mindfulness generated by the practice of the whole group, the whole Sangha, to recognize and embrace our pain for us. And that is a good thing about practicing with a Sangha, a community. Our suffering carries within itself the suffering of our father, of our mother, of our ancestors. And also it reflects the suffering of our nation, our society, the world. So when we are able to embrace our pain, we embrace the pain of our father, our mother, and of the world at the same time. And if we know how to listen to that pain, we will come to understand that pain, that sorrow, and we get relief. And that is the effect of mindfulness. Mindfulness is like a mother, a loving mother, embracing her child. And holding like that, the energy of mindfulness will penetrate into the energy of pain and sorrow and fear and calm it down, and we suffer less. So tonight, in order to start our retreat, the monks and the nuns will practice mindful chanting. And during the time they chant, they try to go back to themselves and touch the suffering in them. They will chant the name of the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of deep listening, the Bodhisattva of great compassion. And while chanting the name for the first time, they go back to themselves and touch their own suffering and try to recognize it and hold it. And the purpose of doing that is to allow the energy of compassion to be born. Because when you understand suffering, compassion naturally arises. When you look at someone, and if you can see the suffering in him or in her, you come to understand that suffering in him or in her, why he has acted like that, why he has caused a lot of suffering to people around him like that. You understand that he has a lot of suffering inside, but does not know how to handle that suffering. That is why that person continues to suffer, to be victims of his own suffering. And he make people around him suffer also. Not because he wants to do that, but because he does not know how to handle the suffering in himself. So when we look at one person, and if we see that person is the victim of his own suffering, he is helpless, then our anger suddenly vanishes. We are not angry at him anymore. In fact, we want to say something or to do something to help him to suffer less. In that case, you know that the energy of compassion has been born in your heart. And when compassion is born in your heart, you don't suffer anymore. You suffer much less. You don't want to punish him, punish her anymore. You want to help him or her to suffer less. So it is very true that understanding suffering always gives rise to compassion. And we know that the energy of compassion has the power to heal and transform. That is why when we go home to ourselves with mindful chanting, mindful breathing, we touch our own suffering. And if we can hold the suffering, we can listen to that suffering, we will come to understand it. And understanding our own suffering will help the energy of compassion to arise, to be born, to heal us. And when they chant the name for the second time, they reach out and recognize the suffering in the other person, in the other people, in front of them, on the left, on the right, behind them. And the purpose is the same. Allow the energy of compassion to be born, to heal. And when they chant the name for the third time, they reach out and try to touch the suffering a little bit everywhere in the world. War, death, violence, hunger, social injustice. And the purpose is the same, to allow compassion to be born. And together we can generate a powerful energy, collective energy of compassion, of mindfulness that can be healing to everyone who happen to be in the zone of the energy. And this is not exactly to pray for a divine power to bring us peace and happiness. This is to a practice to generate the energy of mindfulness and compassion that have the power to heal. And every one of us can contribute to generating that energy by mindful breathing. If we know how to stop our thinking and allow ourselves to be in the zone of collective energy, if we allow that collective energy to penetrate into our body, into our heart, and then that energy will help hold the suffering in ourselves, help release the tension in our body, and help to hold the block of pain and sorrow in our heart. That is the practice. We practice like a child, allowing our mother to embrace us. We practice like a drop of water, allowing the whole river to embrace us and transport us. Sitting in the Sangha, we say, "Dear Sangha, dear brothers and sisters in the practice, I am new in the practice. My mindfulness is not strong enough to hold my pain. So please help me hold the pain inside of me." And if we allow the energy to penetrate in our body, and then we can release easily the tension in it, and we feel better after a few minutes of listening and breathing. Breathing mindfully helps us to stop the thinking, because the thinking has the tendency to take us away from the here and the now. So it's very helpful to stop the thinking and allow the feeling to be. We feel the presence of the Sangha, the collective energy generated by the chanting and the breathing, and we allowed ourselves to be embraced and transported by that wholesome energy. If we have some pain and sorrow and fear in our heart, it's time for us to open our heart and allow the collective energy of mindfulness and compassion to penetrate and help hold that block of pain in ourselves. Like a drop of water surrounding into the river. And if we take refuge in Sangha, allow the Sangha to embrace us, and then the healing can take place easily. If we have someone in the family or a friend who suffers at this moment, who are in the hospital, who cannot come for the retreat, we can very well send this energy to that person by thinking of him, of her, or calling their name silently. And this energy will be channeled to that person at home. So let us sit relaxingly, focus our attention on our in-breath-out breath, allow our body to be relaxed, and stay in this zone of the collective of mindfulness generated by the breathing and the chanting. During the chanting, I will do some movement of my fingers in order to help with concentration. Dear friends, tonight is Brother Phap and Sister Nghiem, two Dhamma teachers. They will offer you instructions as how to enjoy the best our time together here in the retreat. And tomorrow I'll be with you for sitting meditation and walking meditation. Sister Nghiem was a doctor before she became a nun, and Brother Phap architect. Thầy Phap Dung.
Respected Thầy, dear noble community, happy continuation to our dear teacher. Happy continuation to all of us. It's a great happiness for us to be home. It's true for Brother Phap who had lived here over 10 years. I had lived in Deer Park for 7 years. And for many of our monastic brothers and sisters who were blessed to have the opportunity to have most of our monastic growth taking place in Deer Park. Before 2000, Deer Park was a dilapidated place, and squad teams used to come here to practice shooting. And so when this became a monastery, our pioneer brothers and sisters, including Brother Abbot, they had to clean up this place extensively. They would have to clear buckets, big buckets, trash cans of bullets, shells, and a lot of trash and many debris, a lot of debris, unimaginable. So, but only within 3 years, we had our first big retreat with about 1,000 people like this in 2003. And as you can see, Deer Park has grown a lot. And we can see that home and environment can be our home. Environment in which there are people who practice peace, who practice taking care of ourselves, taking care of each other, taking care of many others. And that place can become a true home, a place of refuge for many people. I remember in the beginning, one of my sisters, she said, if we laugh a lot, and our joy and laughter will make it rain, and then the place will become very green, because it wasn't green like this at all. And so I think she was right. Every single mindful breath, mindful step, every single loving word, bodily actions and thoughts have contributed to this place. And our monastic as well as lay brothers and sisters have made this possible. So the theme of our retreat is finding our true home. We see an environment. If we know how to take care of an environment, whether that is a monastery or it is home that you have with your spouse, with your children, or by yourself, it can be a sacred place. It can be a place of healing, of safety. We are 1,000 people here, but I'm sure you're very comfortable closing your eyes and breathe and be yourself. I've been in places, in prisons, where young people would not dare to close their eyes to visualize something pleasant. I'm sure even now there are public places that you wouldn't feel comfortable closing your eyes. So an environment can be our home. In Vietnamese, when two people are married to each other, they also call each other my home. Like instead of saying my husband, my wife, they say nhà tôi, my home, my house. And if you call a person like my dear, mình ơi, it's dear body. So a home can also be in a person. We also take refuge in a person, whether that is our partner, our spouse, or our parents, our children, a friend, a good friend. So if we know how to care for one another, then our love will last and will be a safe place of refuge for each other. So as I reflected on this, I see these two elements. When I was in medical school, my best friend, I don't know if she's here. Are you here, my dear? I think she waved at me. Oh my gosh, I hear her voice for the first time in 11 years. When she was 3 years old, she said to her mother, "Your body cannot tell my body what to do." So our home can also be our body, our 5 aggregates of body, feelings, thoughts, perceptions, consciousness. And Thay will expound on it a lot more, so I just introduced to you. So tonight, as we introduce to you all of these basic practices, please keep in mind that all of these practices help us to build this home, to take care of this home, to maintain this home, and to deepen this home that is in physical space, in time space, but also in non-space, non-locality dimension. So every single practice, for example, when we talk about breathing, before I go on with that, my twin sister, she challenged me this time. When you share the orientation tonight, you cannot say one of those key words that we use in the practice. And you have to get the audience to say what is that word. So even if my sharing is boring, will you make sure to listen deeply? Because at the end, I will ask you which word that is that I'm not using during this whole orientation. So when we talk about awareness of breathing, that can also be a home for us, as Thay mentioned earlier. Usually when we will feel sad, we'll listen to very sad, sobby music, right? Love music or something like that, that wrenches your heart, cut your intestines into pieces. And when you feel like excited or angry, you would like to listen to some very exciting hard rock, right? Heavy metal music, right? So we use music to identify with our own feelings, with what we're going through. But for those of us who practice, you will discover that the breath is the most beautiful music, the most reflective music of our state of mind. When we're angry, we'll breathe differently. When we're sad, we'll breathe differently. When we're anxious, we will breathe differently, physiologically. The breath manifests the mind, the states of mind. So getting to know our breathing patterns is getting to know our mind. The mind cannot be seen. If you use one finger to find a mind, you cannot point at it. You cannot see it with your eyes. You cannot hear it with your ears, cannot smell it, cannot taste it, cannot touch it. The mind is something very elusive and abstract. But the breath can be perceived with all 6 senses of eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And so getting to know our breath, our breathing pattern helps us to be home with ourselves in the body and also in the mind. We'll listen to one sound of the bell and just explore that breath. As we breathe in, aware that it is an in-breath. As we breathe out, know that it is an out-breath. See where you're breathing, at which level, at your nose, nostril level, or mouth, or at the throat level, at your chest level, or abdominal level. Which color is your breath? What is the texture? Most of us, we breathe at the throat level or at the chest level because we're used to stress. But when we are more relaxed, you will feel the abdominal rising and falling. Your abdomen rises and falls as you breathe in and as you breathe out. When we are more relaxed, at ease, when we feel more at home, we will feel this abdominal breathing. In our monasteries, in our practice centers, every time we hear a sound of the bell, whether it is a mini bell or a big bell like in the meditation hall or in the dining hall or out there the great temple bell, anywhere we hear a bell, we stop everything. We stop speaking, we just drop the words. If you're carrying something, if you're walking, you're doing something, just simply pause, come to a stop. Gently come to a stop. If you're thinking something, also breathe it out. Everything, the actions of the mind, of the speech, and of the body come to a halt. And we come home in this breath. We just breathe in and aware that it is an in-breath. Breathe out and aware that it is an out-breath. And your mind dwell in the breathing. And it can be very calming and soothing. Home is where we should be able to relax, to be at ease, to feel safe, to be ourselves. And in our breathing, we can be at home. We can hear that most beautiful music. And sometimes that music can be very turbulent too. When you suddenly hear a sound of the bell or a phone ringing, we use the phone ringing also. We use the red lights and green lights also to just be able to come back to our breathing. And you realize you've been holding your breath. You've been breathing very harshly or in a very shallow way. You realize you've not been inside your body at all. The mind has been traveling so far that we have neglected this home. So sometimes when we come home, we realize that the home is vacant, it's deserted, it's neglected. And we can simply breathe with that, recognize that, breathe and smile. And in one instant only, we can reclaim that home, that territory. We can accept it. We can touch spaciousness, clarity in that moment as well. So when there is this awareness of breathing, the mind has a place to come back to. And we have an environment to practice that. Please, these next few days, really enjoy breathing. Take your time. When you hear a phone ringing or a bell, breathe in and out. That's one. In, out. That's two. In, out. That's three. Then, if you feel really rich, which you are, even recite a poem. I listen to this wonderful sound of the bell that brings me back to my true home. Our monastic brothers and sisters, we have just a few robes, very few belongings, but we have the luxury to breathe with the phone ringing every day. We breathe in and out 3 times like that, and to recite that beautiful poem. So while you're here, be the richest person on this planet and take your time to enjoy breathing. And when you touch that true home, you will like it a lot. You will see that everything is manageable. It's really okay. Then it will inspire you to go home and continue that practice. If you leave this monastery and bring only one practice, which is awareness of breathing, I personally would be very happy. So now I will invite my brother to share a practice. But I remember one time my brother was sharing about walking meditation. And he said he used to walk in such a way, he would swing his hands in such a way that his elder brothers would remind him. And he learned to walk more calmly, more. Yeah. And so afterwards, after his sharing, I walked up to him and I said, "Dear elder brother, do you know that you still walk like a gangster sometimes?" And he said, "I do." And then just one younger sister happened to pass by. And he said, "Hey, Sister Dee just told me I walk like a gangster sometimes. Is that true?" And she said, "Yeah, I can see it." So when we practice, it does not mean that we become somebody else. We retain our beautiful qualities, but we go only deeper, right? The good seeds, the beautiful things in us. So perhaps our brother can share that practice of walking meditation. Huh?
Dear Thầy, dear Sangha, yes, welcome to the gang. Huh? It's nice to have brothers and sisters around that know you well. Huh? I think she shared a little bit about Deer Park and about what this place used to be. How many of you were ever in Peace Corps? You joined Peace Corps? Ah, wonderful. Just a little history of this place. You know, the actual place where we're sitting on used to be where the Peace Corps set their camps. This place was founded to train the Peace Corps. And you can probably find more on the Deer Park website. But when we first came here, I remember the first retreat, our children's program, actually it was a weekend or a Sunday program. We had the children and we collected all the bullets and we made a huge, the shells and the lead stuff, and we made a huge peace sign, gluing it onto a board, and I remember giving that to the children, giving that to Thai on our first, I guess, retreat or visit here. And that's and I'm aware that this place is it isn't just, you know, it's like almost the ancestors call us here, the Native Americans, the people who've come before us, the ones that worked hard to make this road that we drive up, and the land to be flattened, and all the plants and the animals that kind of have to, you know, reseed so that we can also share this land. So this place is not just for humans, for many animals. And when we first came here, it was quite scary. You know, it was a place where they practiced shooting, and it was left, and a lot of drug addicts were up here. So, but with that, slowly with the Sangha coming and taking care of it, bit by bit, you can see the land and the trees becoming happier. And so this is not just a metaphor for ourselves and our practice, but it is the truth. When you have something that's cared, when you care for a place, it slowly has that feeling, you know. When you leave your house for a while and you come back, you know, it takes a while. It's that energy. So we are slowly becoming more aware that it's not just the material world, but it's also the spirit. And when I found out this retreat was named Finding Our True Home, I actually remember a phrase that that we use. It's like, knock knock, anybody home? You know that? People say, when someone is like kind of staring off while they're eating, like, hello, anybody home? It's beautiful in this. To sit there and just be alive, be present. There's no just following our breath and accepting the present moment as it is. There's no something that you have to be, someone else or something in front of you that you're running towards. So that's the attitude, the spirit of the sitting meditation. Is when you come in, find a spot and sit. And follow your breathing, close your eyes if you need to, if that helps. Establish yourself right away into the breath, into the energy of this awareness. And so you the way of our training is to think a lot and to work things out and to do things. And I think there's not a lot of training in how to just be, the quality of being. And slowly I think we should find more ways to teach that to the young people and to everyone. There's a way of not just thinking and doing, but actually being. So basically being present, being with what is there, being with your breath, being with your body. So sitting meditation is simply being present for ourselves, and we've run away from that. We've not taken care of our home for a long time. It's got a lot of cobweb and it's got a little messy with a lot of thinking, a lot of ideas. So when we come to this place, is to retrain and to stop and to come back and take care of our home. We've run too much. I think there's an image that's stuck in my mind from the last retreat, and I saw this just right here in this hall, that when the cell phone rang for this woman, right in the middle of a Dharma talk, she took her jacket, wrapped it, and she held it real close, and she ran out. And I watched her. I was sitting over there. I just imagine the amount of anxiety in her body. And then she came out there and she tried to look to see what pocket it was, and you can tell there was a kind of energy, almost like a kind of terror a little bit, the frantic. And then she opened the phone, and I can tell that they hung up or something by her reaction. And then she put it back, and then she just was kind of lost. She was walking back and forth out there, and she wanted to come back in, but she didn't know. So for me, that was very very violent in terms of what happens when we do that to ourselves. So here at a retreat, let's be more gentle, be more kind to ourselves, take care of ourselves. So we've been trained to do things that we think is normal, the pace, the attitude, the tension. And we're so programmed to it that we don't even know that's what's happening. So we come on a retreat like this, the collective energy as well as the environment helps us. So when we eat, we need to retrain in a sense. So you can hear all the Peace Corps trainers here. They also train something, and we're coming here to train. I think the last retreat, our teacher shared, this is not a place to take notes and to learn only intellectually through words and spoken words and written words, but to train. This is a practice center. So it's not about what you know, but it's about what you can apply. So you know a lot about the Dharma, you know a lot about Thay's teaching, So you have to ask, why are you here then? And we all can use a little bit more walking meditation. Certainly I do. More eating meditation. And so you check the quality of your presence to the food that you're eating. Are you there with the food? And what is this relation to your relationship and how you speak and listen to others when you cannot be present to broccoli, carrot, rice? And look at the anxiety or any tension that you have in your body while you eat. The relaxation that's in your face, your jaw. So there's a lot of body awareness when you eat. When you pick up broccoli, put in your mouth, are you chewing broccoli or are you chewing your thinking? We've been trained like that, to eat and get things done and be productive. So we are used to that and we think that's normal. And it needs some time for us to slowly become aware and then to retrain to think broccoli. So if you're going to think broccoli. I am here for you, broccoli. And chew your broccoli, chew your rice, chew your tofu. Think tofu. I am here for you. You think it's easy? I mean, it's tough. Everyone needs a little bit more training. We're so habituated to flow away. So when you eat, find your spot, sit down, and eat like a real decent human being. Don't rush. You have all the time to eat here. And waiting in line is wonderful. If you know how to wait, that means you don't wait. You stand there and you're alive. You're not waiting. You're alive, standing. So there's a way of an attitude of how to do things here. So we retrain like that because this will help you when you have to go to the post office or when you stand there. It's like, wow. See, it's all in your mental attitude. When you stand there, wow, these people are here. So you can begin to nourish a different attitude. And you find it challenging? He cut in front of us. Hello, irritation. Oh, there's another one. So you can also use that as an opportunity. Hello, irritation. Hello, impatience. So all this is, we're not here to be comfortable only. We're here to find out our habits and the way our mind works. So waiting in line, you can be enlightened. Don't underestimate. Many people have shared with us that they have touched their ancestor, their father, their mother, waiting in line for a meal. So don't underestimate that practice. And don't think that is any less than sitting here or listening to a Dharma talk or having Dharma discussion. So eating, waiting in line, taking the food, and please take only the amount that you know you're going to eat and finish. In fact, take a little less if you're first time eating in this way. Because when you eat slowly and you give yourself time, you will get filled. So at first, you can always get second, and we'll try our best in this retreat to finish all our food. And if you're near the end of the line and you're last to come, and there's only a few scrapings, it's great. You have no choice. Just get what you have. If you love to be first in the line, try being last one day. So we're not here just for the food. We're not here for the 5-star bed. I think we're here for something else. And I think we're all, and I have to thank you for that. I know this place, our home here, it's not, 5-star. Maybe it's 1,000-star actually. This is right out in the open. But we're here for something else, and I think you all agree to that. So please, any of the sharing roommates, sharing snoring mates, use that as an opportunity. And of course, if you're, share with us if you're having trouble sleeping. But sharing a room and how you wake up and helping each other. So we're here, we're not isolated and practicing alone. We're here not to avoid each other and not make eye contact. In our tradition, we encourage rooming together and communicating in a non-verbal way and being aware of each other. So this tradition, we're retraining a little bit also of how to be with each other, with this energy. And so when you share a room, look at how you're practicing with that. Because that is in relationship with your family and your co-workers as well. Things will come up. And with the practice, with the collective energy, with this daily rhythm, you can find out a lot about yourself. So sharing rooms, waking up, please give yourself time to wake up. Don't rush. Wake up a little earlier. Actually, if you're sharing room, most of you should wake up, earlier so you have enough time. So you don't create conditions for irritation. So you wake up and lay on your bed a little bit before you rush out. We're so habituated to wake up, rush, put on our clothes, and get. And so you'll have that tendency here to get to the meditation hall. Open that door, fling your shoes off. So be aware of that, how you put your shoes. Do it with care, opening the door. So you come in, walk. So the meditation can begin right when you wake up. How you open the door to the restroom, how you turn on the faucet. So in our tradition, we don't emphasize on any particular aspect of the practice, but we try to make it as continuous as possible. And find out where you're rushing. It's like, wow, I'm rushing. So this is a kind of attitude about keep maintaining that kind of continual practice. Coming in here, sitting, finishing and walking to the dining hall, using the stairway. That stairway that we use here is a bodhisattva. Try to find out how many steps there are. And then count it backwards. Use it as your Dharma friend. Step on those stairway. Train to walk. Thai, he shared a lot about the stairway in the place where he lived. So that stairway is a continuation of that stairway that Thai has talked about, that he uses in walking each step mindfully. Respecting ourselves as we take each step. So we try to have little areas where we have that awareness, and slowly it links our days. And this home slowly will feel very comfortable when we are in that type of space. I think one of my favorite calligraphy of Thai is be beautiful, be yourself. And I think that is very relevant to our finding our true home. Being at home. Being at home. Being at home with ourselves wherever we find. So there isn't something you're supposed to do or that you should be doing or the correct way of doing things. Use your awareness, watch, look. So we become so isolated, we're not aware of others and the collective energy. So being at home is not just being, but also being aware of where you're at and what the community and the collective is doing. So that's some of the practices. Maybe Sister D can share a few more.
Let us return to our breathing and enjoy the in-breaths and the out-breaths. As you listen to our sharing, would you experiment and see if you can stay with your breathing? You can stay in your body. See what it's like to be able to be in touch with our breath. My brother shared, he touched actually several practices. As I was sharing earlier about home, we can find it in environment, or we can find it in a person. And usually, when we say that person who understands us a lot, we call that person is our soulmate, right? Soulmate. You know, in Vietnamese, the word soulmate is tri kỷ. And when we write it in Vietnamese or in Chinese character, tri means to know, to remember, and to master. And kỷ, can you guess what it means? Kỷ. It means oneself. So a soulmate is to know, to remember, to master oneself. Everything that my brother and I have shared so far is to help us to get to know ourselves more deeply, to remember ourselves more frequently in our daily life in order to master what is in this body, in these feelings, in these perceptions that we have. When my brother was sharing about eating meditation, some of the very simple tools that can help us is when you chew, see if you can chew solid food 20 or 30 times. Just chew until it becomes liquid. And as we are chewing, just put down the utensil. Because as we are chewing, usually we are playing with the food. We are already preparing the next spoonful of food. It's just like when we're doing this, but we are already thinking about the next project, the next thing that we do. So it manifests in our way of being. Just in eating, we can look at somebody and we know the habit energy of that person, the mind of that person. I remember one time we had a retreat and I know of this doctor and I saw her eating and I was horrified. She was eating so fast and it was like she was hungry. She had been in hunger for such a long time or something, but I knew it was not true. It's just her mind was so busy. And then it reminded me, most likely I was eating like that. As a medical student, as a resident, I was eating like that too. So to be able to see ourselves and to see ourselves outside of ourselves, to be aware of the body in the body and to be aware of the body outside of the body, to see somebody else doing it and then you recognize, actually I am also like that, or I was also like that, or I can be like that if I'm not aware, if I don't pay attention. So it helps us a lot. So put down the utensil. In eating meditation, At breakfast, when you serve your meal, standing in line in silence, and when you sit down, you can begin to eat. You don't have to wait for the bell. But just take your time to be aware of the food and of the community around us. And then at lunch, we will wait for 3 sounds of the bell for the 5 contemplations, read out loud, and then we will begin to eat together. There will be 2 shifts, so the organizers will tell you more, but it's very amazing. Each cooking team, there are only 6 brothers and sisters who cook for almost 1,000 retreatants and more than 110 monastic brothers and sisters. Only 6 brothers and sisters who cook. So we are very happy when you enjoy the food deeply, but it hurts us. It's sad when you throw food away so much, like my brother was saying. So every day in a retreat, I would say buckets of food being brought to make into compost. It's nice that we compost food, but it's nicer if we don't have to compost so much. So please practice this out of compassion for our brothers and sisters, but also for all the animals and plants and minerals that have sacrificed their lives for us to have our meals. And then I would like to share a little bit about walking meditation. So in Chinese, the word walking, Han, this one means left foot, and this one means right foot. There's such wisdom in language, isn't there? Yeah? So we can be a master in many skills. We may have many degrees, but very seldomly we are aware that we're walking. We can walk across the campus, across the parking lot, and we may not be aware at all that we have walked across that whole distance. So to just simply be aware that we're taking a right foot, taking a left foot, taking a right foot. Right there, the mind is in the body. The mind is in the steps. The mind is in the breath. The mind is with the feet. And in that moment, we are home, right in the here and the now. So home is also in the here and the now. Sometimes it helps if you just walk and say here, here, as you breathe in, now, now, now. We have another practice is we say, I have arrived. I have arrived. I'm home. I'm home. Really touch that. Feel the feet touching the ground. Feel how the body moves. Normally we walk with such harshness. We walk very fast and with a lot of pressure. When we exert a force on Mother Earth that we are not paying attention to. But if you have a knee injury or an ankle injury, try to walk the same way. What would happen to you? Such deep pain, shooting sharp pain you experience immediately. So you immediately, take back that foot and try to walk much softer. So don't wait until when we get an injury, because we are injuring ourselves daily when we're not aware that we're walking. We waste a lot of energy. It's called leaking of energy. However much energy we may have, like a tank full of water, but if there's a hole that leaks day and night through our own thoughts, wandering thoughts, aimless thoughts, through our useless speech, and also just through our bodily actions, without awareness, without care, without love, we are away from home, and we're leaking off that energy. And when we are sick, we don't have to be old to be sick. I'm sure in this audience, many of us suffer from some sorts of illness, whether it's acute illness or chronic illness, whether it's mild or severe. But when we're sick, the mind also becomes weaker, much weaker. The mind loses its concentration. The mind tends to think much more negatively. And you start to question about yourself. You feel very insecure about yourself, about your relationship. You don't know if it's actually your home, where you are in the relationship, where you are physically, if it's really your home, if it can support you, right? When we're so busy, we don't think about those things. But when the body is weak, the mind also becomes weak, and it doubts everything. So it's important to be able to develop a practice when we're still healthy, when the mind is still sound. It's a great blessing. I know when I contracted Lyme disease, I couldn't have concentration. I mean, I had a practice for 11 years, so it helped me to continue to be aware of what was going on in my body and around me. But it was very hard to stay focused on one thing. My mind was wandering aimlessly, and I just had to follow that. And I had to ask myself very often, do I still have right view? Do I still have right thinking? I had to ask myself constantly. I had to ask my sisters, please tell me if you hear me speaking strangely or doing things strangely, let me know. But we have to be the ones who know, who remember, and who's able to master our own thoughts, our own speech and bodily actions. Through very simple practices such as awareness of breathing, awareness of walking, awareness of what we are putting into our mouth, then it helps us to be aware, more aware of what we're putting into our own thoughts, right? Our own consciousness. These very simple practices. And we will have walking meditation every day as a community after, I believe, it was after sitting meditation. But we can always practice walking meditation anytime throughout the day. As soon as you come back to the steps, as soon as you come back to your breathing, it's a dance between the steps and the breaths. Then you are doing walking meditation. Even at night when you go to the restroom, you can do walking meditation to be there for the body, to be kind to Mother Earth. Just the way you walk, it's already a lot of love. It's already preserving the planet Earth. It's not that we have to do great, grand things that we think we are preserving Mother Earth while we are trampling on her mindlessly. But every step in mindfulness, in love, it makes this place and it makes your home always there for you. Perhaps our brother can share the practice of working meditation.
Dear friends, we know many of you travel far, so we'll try to wrap it up so you can rest, have a restful night. Just a few more tips on how we can enjoy the retreat. We all have the opportunity to work together, and it's not just to get the thing done. I mean, it's very wonderful. We're collectively creating this retreat together, and it's actually one of the. It's a fortune that we have an opportunity to practice working. Many retreats we have where everything is taken care of for us, but the ones who share that it's through working meditation that they're able to really see a lot of things about themselves. And many of you who are returning practitioner, you know. So when we work, we try not to get it done. So how is that different? How is that a practice to do working meditation? So the breathing, the body awareness, whatever you're doing, whether it's setting up the hall, doing the pots, sweeping the bathroom, or doing the toilet, or doing the gardening, is a practice. So we're not here, we're here to retrain ourselves on how we do things. And so physically, how we do things, your ancestor, your parents will come up. And the way we've been trained will come up. We want to get it done. We want to get it perfect. And we look at others and see how they're doing. And there's all these thoughts that come up. And so have an opportunity to interact. And you have maybe many ideas about how things should be done. And you got to figure out how to work that together. And you can see all that stuff that the school and the education system, our workplace has trained us. And it's great. It brings a smile sometimes to our face. But I'm sure you will discover wonderful things. So when we work, try to be aware of your body. Light, ease, and be aware of the collective. So using the energy to kind of intuitive what should be done, rather than actually always doing things like that. You learn, and that increases your awareness, your energy of doing things together. And we work as a team, so it's not important that the work gets done perfectly on time, but it's attitude you're doing it. And this is more and more we're finding out that, a lot of people are great at doing things, but the relationship is not so well. So here we can pay attention, retrain ourselves to doing something that we build brotherhood and sisterhood. And it's not about getting your way, or like all the cushions are perfectly straight the way you want it, or the chairs are a certain way, but it's doing it together and asking for help. So not being the hero. If you're the hero, ask, or the heroine, ask for help. Or if you kind of like don't like to show up for things, you try to find excuses, maybe you get there first. So it's actually finding out about yourself in relationship to work. So this is and you'll have a work facilitator or work coordinator in each group, and they'll give us instructions on how we can do the things to help the retreat run more smoothly. One other thing is also, I mentioned about sharing rooms, and also in relation to that is noble silence. So please be aware that this retreat, we have a tendency to share and to socialize and talk a lot with our mouth, but also with our head. We're a lot of talking in our heads. So use this opportunity to maybe turn down the volume or even turn off that. And Thai has called it the non-stop thinking radio in our head. The NST radio in our head. And so when we can turn that off, we can really become aware of our breath, aware of our body. So at night, when the last activity we're done, please begin that practice right away. Go take your shoes, put it on, go back to your room, your tent, or wherever you need to maybe commute, and be right away begin. So that is also a beginning of another session of meditation. Returning to our center, returning to our inner spirit, and being aware of that. And then I think that period goes on to after breakfast, after we wash the dishes. So it's we wake up in the morning, we do walking, and then even doing breakfast, we maintain the silence. And just one addition in the dining hall, please keep that area also in noble silence, because it's a small dining area, and the voice and the sound can really reverberate. And anywhere else that you're eating, also be aware of that practice of noble silence while we eat. So this is a very deep practice, can help us come back to our home. Sitting, I think I mentioned about the attitude of sitting, find a cushion. I think we might even have a session. Do we have a session for sitting, basic practice? But find your cushion, find a seat, this hallway, if you're sitting outside. And also bring some, for walking, I think Thai, sometimes we sit with Thai in the community during our walking meditation. We'll stop at a place and we can do sitting meditation. And main thing is not to have something you're running after. I think that's most of the basic practice.
Okay. So tomorrow we will have sitting at the 5:45 in the morning. So if you can get here 5 minutes at least, actually 10 minutes before, and I believe the sitting arrangement will be like this. And so if we can move all the way up and close to each other, so that others who come after us will be moving more easily. And as soon as we do walking meditation down here, and as soon as you sit down, you just follow your breathing, you harmonize your breathing, you harmonize your body in upright and relaxed posture. So we really don't wait for anything. There will be guided sitting meditation each session, but as soon as we sit down, it's already the practice of stopping. See, because meditation is a bird with two wings, stopping and looking deeply. And we practice stopping throughout the day when the mind is with the body. Even if you are eating or walking or doing anything, if the mind is resting in the body, there's that element of stopping. And when there is the element of stopping, there is already deep looking. You can already see reality as it is. So our practice is continuous, as my brother was sharing, and everything. So don't wait until the session of sitting meditation in order to look deeply or to practice stopping. Okay? Another practice that we shared is actually the electronics. If you can take a vacation from phones, cameras, laptops, iPads, iPods, etc., it would be a great service to yourself and to the community. And while especially during Dharma talks, please turn off all cell phones and do not take pictures. Just put them away. In Pennsylvania right now, they have inpatient programs for people with internet addiction and people with electronic addiction. So let's discover during this week whether you have that addiction or not. I think many of us are qualified for that. So that practice. And I just want to mention, when my brother talked about noble silence, you will touch true home in noble silence. When there's no longer the boundary between this physical body and the space outside or other physical bodies, in noble silence, it's not just the stopping of the chattering of the mouth, but the deeper level of noble silence is stopping the chattering of the mind. And when the mind is quiet, it becomes very spacious. It becomes oneness with all that is. And that is the most beautiful and safe home that we can touch. So even if breakfast has passed, even throughout the day, you can always touch noble silence when you just bring the mind back to the body and quiet it down. Just breathe and look at a bird flying in the sky. Just look at a flower, a tree, look at a child. You can touch very deep noble silence. You can touch true home in that moment. I think we have covered basically most of the practices, and if we forgot something, there will be some announcements and our brothers and sisters will help us out. Thank you so much for your deep listening. Thank you for being here with us. Let us enjoy 3 sounds of the bell together.